The GallowgateShots podcast is sponsored by Tyre Spot, the North East's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the GallowgateShots YouTube and podcast channel. It's a new season, it's finally back, and we are back with a match preview. It's been too long, boys, but it's finally here. We are here to preview the first game of the season against Southampton, live at St James's Park on Saturday. I'm Scott, I'm your host for this one, and boys, we're back. I'm joined by Joe, Andy, and Daryl. And let's just jump straight into it because I've been waiting so long for Premier League football to return. I don't even care how you all have been. I know, right? This might be really rough, by the way, because we've all had the summer off. We've done no videos other than Smiling Faces podcast.
No preseason for us.
No preseason. We've had no training. We've not been to Tokyo or anything like that. We've had nothing. But yeah, Saturday, 17th of August. 3 p.m. kickoff. You can go get drunk and stack beforehand and then go to St James's Park for the first day of the season. We play newly promoted Southampton at St James's, like I've said. They're not doing too badly, Southampton. They're currently 17th in the table, just outside the relegation zone. They're 2 places behind us, and they are on equal points with top of the league, AFC Bournemouth. They're on 0 played, 0 wins, 0 draws, 0 defeats. They've scored 0 goals. They've had 0 scored against them, and they're on a 0 goal difference. How's that?
At least the consistency.
Don't say anything about GallowgateShots not giving you the date information. You cannot say that, can you? Actually, yeah. I mean, to be fair, it is first game of the season. We've got nothing to go off at the moment, but I do have some historic commentator stats, as always, on this before we get into looking at the teams. First one is Newcastle have won 7 of their last 9 Premier League matches against Southampton, including the last 3 in a row. We've never won 4 in a row against Southampton before, so fingers crossed that happens on Saturday. Southampton have just managed 1 win in the last 18 Premier League visits to St James's Park. The last win was a 2-1 victory back in January 2015. I think they were managed by Ronnie Coleman back then, if I remember rightly. And Newcastle have just lost just 1 of their last 20 Premier League games against promoted sides. That's 11 wins and 8 draws. And the defeat was last season against Luton away. 1-0 defeat. And we all remember that because I think it was one of Luton's first victories of the season, if I recall as well. Maybe it was 1 or 2 they had beforehand, but it was one of many few, unfortunately, Luton. Newcastle have won their opening Premier League match in both campaigns under Eddie Howe. They haven't won 3 in a row since the 82-83 to 84-85 seasons. And the last manager to do 3 in a row was Joe Harvey between 72 and 73 and 74 to 75. So come on, Eddie, you can do it. You can put your name in the record books yet again and have another credit to your name. And I think you probably can do it. Spoiler alerts for the prediction later on. And the final stat from me before we move on to the other lads is amongst the teams who have played 10 or more Premier League seasons, Southampton have the lowest win ratio in their opening matches of the season, winning just 24 games, which is only 8%. They are also joint second in opening day defeats with 12. Does anybody know who they share that with? I mean, you do, because I told you earlier, but let's make it fun. It's us. By the way, yeah, it's Newcastle United are joint second with Southampton, and we are behind only West Ham, who are on 15 defeats. So if we win, we go 3rd in that table, which gets you Champions League football in my eyes. So let's do it. Let's get 3rd of that table, and let's drop down a position because that's what we need. We'll take a look at Southampton because obviously we can't talk about how the season's been so far, because it's the first day. Have I mentioned that? It's the first. Can you tell I'm excited? Premier League football's back. Andy, mate, you've been taking a look into Southampton.
Calm down,
and
Scott.
We'll have a little bit of discussion. I can't help it. I can't help it. I've done Canny Chatter last night. This is coming up this night.
Tension.
It's just I'm so excited. Andy, mate, Southampton. Tell us a little bit about their season last year, their promotion winning season. How did they do, and what can we expect from the Saints?
I don't want to bring the tone down because you've hyped it up beyond belief. It feels like the season's proper snuck up on us, doesn't it? But I couldn't even remember how Southampton got promoted. It seemed like it was so long ago, the end of last season. But they obviously came fourth, beat Leeds in the playoff final. Adam Armstrong scored the winner, and Leeds fans were in tears. So I'll always be grateful for that, living in a town where there's lots and lots of Leeds fans. But I just obviously just look back at last season because that's all we can do really. Top scorer. By a long, long way, Adam Armstrong, 21 goals, 13 assists. Underneath him, Shea Adams, 16 goals, 4 assists. Then you've got to go a long, long, long way down to get to the next person, which is Edozie with 6 goals. So very reliant on 2 players. One of those players, Shea Adams, they've actually released, which I had no idea. I just want those players that's always played for Southampton.
Yeah.
So they've released him, released Stuart Armstrong. They've unfortunately sold Saleta Sarr, who was the guy who Murphy waved off in the Carabao Cup, which is a shame. So we won't get to see that encounter again. And then I had to look at
We did see it in the video the other day. So
relived it.
We did relive it.
Such an iconic moment. It's great, but we won't get to see it again unless he decides to do it to one of the new lads they've signed. So they had 2 lads on loan, Howard Bellis and Flynn Downs, who they've made permanent. They brought in that Brereton Diaz, who's obviously a good player, but has never really elevated it to the Premier League. They've bought an entire new defence, re-signed Adam Lallana. So no one really, really exciting. But I think what they're trying to do this time around is not make the mistake they did last time, which was sign loads of young'uns, and then they just didn't have what it took for the Premier League. So I think there'll be a bit of an unknown quantity, but I actually think in terms of the promoted sides, they'll probably will be the weakest. I really like Ipswich. I really like Leicester. I just think Southampton aren't going to have enough in the tank over a full season. But they've got threats, and obviously Adam Armstrong's the sort of player, ex-Newcastle, that whole narrative, he will score, and he'll probably try and shush the fans like previously.
Yeah, they're interesting, Joe. Southampton. Is it 2 seasons they've been down, or was it just the one? I can't remember if they've yo-yoed straight back up, or were they down for a couple of seasons? I can never remember that.
Just one.
It's just the one season, yeah.
Right.
But they were one of those teams that it was kind of, you could see them. Eventually, it was going to happen to them. They were just playing with relegation for about 3 or 4 years, and then you were just like, it's inevitable. It's going to happen, and unfortunately, it did. I like Southampton in the Premier League. I think they deserve to be in the Premier League just on status alone. Although you could argue no team really deserves to just be there on status. But there is a player that they had last season, which they don't have, which they want to have, and they can't have yet because he wants too much money, or and that's Ryan Fraser.
Give me a second to remember who you're talking about.
How do you solve a problem like Ryan Fraser? Is there a case of he's going to just sneak in on the bus on the way back down and we're just going to forget about him? But I think the fans want him back.
Yeah, he actually got
what I've been seeing on socials. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair to the lad, he actually did pretty well when he went to them. And who knows? It might be. I mean, Ryan Fraser's at a stage in his career where he really needs to prioritize football over anything else. I think he's got a year left on our contract, if I remember rightly. But I'd be surprised if Southampton don't try and sign him. But wages are probably a factor. So, I mean, who knows? He's definitely not got a future here, that's for certain.
What makes you
that? Is
true.
I mean, to be fair, we are pretty light at left wing, actually, thinking about it. There's not really anyone there who can challenge him. So maybe. But we'll see.
We'll see. Daryl, mate, we'll focus over on Newcastle a little bit. Obviously, we all know, apart from goalkeepers, there hasn't been too many players in the door at Newcastle. We've signed, a defender and a striker, who, from what we've seen in pre-season, are probably going to be 2 decent squad players. They're not going to be knocking on the first, starting 11 by any stretch of the imagination, you would have thought, unless there's been injuries like we had last season. But we've strengthened the squad, you would like to think. You've got Lloyd Kelly and you've got, I can't pronounce the kid's name that we brought in the striker. Osula, that's it.
Osula.
I thought you were going to mean the keeper when you said
I was going to say Vlachodimos or something.
Vlachodimos. I know Vlachodimos because it's that's my fantasy football team this season. Is him. But are you surprised at the lack of incomings so close to the season? Do you think would have done a bit more?
I think everybody would have liked us to have done a bit more before now. I think it's just the fact that we're having to navigate the market in such a way that it means that it's going to take time, and we all need to have a bit of patience about it. And I look at the squad. Like you've mentioned, we've brought in a couple of keepers, and we've brought in Kelly and Osula. I liked how Osula took his goal in the preseason game last Saturday, even though it was ruled offside. And I think, again, as we know with all new signings already, how he doesn't bring them straight into the squad. It will take a bit of bedding in, and then when they get a chance, they'll be used, and it'll be up to them to take that chance. I think there's still a lot of work to go with the transfer market when in terms of both outgoings and incomings. I think if they can get another 2 players in, and we all know how much of a problem that right-hand side is in attack. So I think we'll be looking at that side of the pitch, and also just another centre-half to come in for cover, because with the injuries to Lascelles and Botman, we are actually quite light at centre-half, and you don't really want to be going into this season with Shea, Byrne and Kelly as your first choice centre-halves.
Yeah, and I think it's worth noting, Joe, that just because the season starts at Saturday doesn't mean that the transfer window closes on Saturday. There's time still to get stuff done, even though the time is ticking. We still have a bit of the window's still open. We've still got time to do stuff.
We are, mate. Arguably our most important signing since the takeover, being Isak didn't join until about 3 days before the end of August, I think it was, and obviously he made his debut against Liverpool. So there's plenty of time, and I've obviously no doubt that the people who have come in now to organise and structure the club, they'll have lists like for like Gahey, who we're obviously chasing. If that doesn't work out, there's going to be a list of like 4 or 5 that they'll be keeping hot tabs on, and they'll be able to strike soon after. I think
you got to remember the Tonali situation as well, haven't you?
Well, the Tonali thing came out of pretty much nowhere. I think in the chat today, Scott, you mentioned about what's he called, Carlos, who signed for Villa.
Diego Carlos,
Diego Carlos. We were after him for ages, man, and everyone's like, "Oh, we need him. He's going to be class. He's going to be mint." And then obviously it didn't work. So anyway, Carlos, ended up getting Botman, and the rest is history. I'm looking forward to seeing the lad back soon enough. But no, there's plenty of time. I think we just got to trust the process. Like, not everything is going to work out smoothly for transfers in terms of bringing people in. Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to have them in for the start of the season, to bed them in, to get them going. But I mean, look at Bruno, for instance. He's a great example of he came in, but he took 6 weeks to start. The only reason Botman got started so early is because someone against Forest first game of the season, they got injured. I can't remember who it was, but I'm pretty sure that was the only reason Botman started. Lascelles. He got injured and Botman came on. So, just because we get these players in, it's going to take a bit of time to bed them in regardless. But we've got a very strong squad. I think we need to remember the amount of players we're getting back from injury, and they're going to be fresh.
Of course.
The
starting 11's class still.
Huge.
I think there's a lot of our fan base are forgetting. These seasons we've had over the past couple of years, it's the same players. They're not got any worse. Some of them are going to be better.
Yeah.
And without injuries.
Joe Linton looks a beast. Isak's looking smart. Murphy's looking good in pre-season. You've got Hall and Livramento, who are now going to be fully embedded into the squad, man. I'm well excited. And Willock, you can't forget Willock, man. How much was he out last season? We missed him so much. So
him and Joe Linton.
Yeah, of course. And you've got and you've also got, I personally think you've got Anthony Gordon, who's going to look to prove a point for the fact that he got taken to Germany in the Euros, and he featured for all of 8 minutes or whatever it was he got given by Gareth Southgate, and that was it. He spent more time on his bike, or maybe he's off his bike or whatever it was when he fell off, and that was it really, and more time in the media room than he did on the pitch afterwards. I think he's going to be there to prove that point, and maybe he's, I don't want to say put himself in the shop window, but he wants to put himself out there to be like, look, there's World Cup qualifiers coming up soon. I want to be part of that squad. There's a new England manager coming out, and also obviously I want to do my best for Newcastle United. I think
A
he's
New
going
England
to be
manager
out
coming out.
massively.
That's a news story.
You know what I mean? There's a new England manager coming along. Well, I don't know who the new interim is. The assistant, wasn't it? I can't remember his name.
Lee Carsley.
Lee Carsley. For the
Real
he's
Madrid
for the
legend.
the September September games. They're the qualifiers, aren't they? The 2 September games, or are they just? Was that stupid Europa?
Who cares about England, man?
Who cares? Yeah,
that's been and gone, man.
New season.
We never have to watch Gareth Southgate again.
I'm on it down and now talking about Southgate, but yeah, and then like you've said, we do have, you know, from a starting 11 point of view, even Jacob Murphy, who, you know, I've slated in the past, and you know, he's turned my opinion and then turned back and turned. Preseason, he turned into prime, you know, Maradona. He's taking on players, he's volleying the ball in the back of the net, he's doing all sorts. So yeah, why not? Let's get excited. It's a new season. You're supposed to be optimistic for a new season, and why the hell not? Although looking at most pundits in BBC, you wouldn't have thought it. Let's not talk about them. Yeah.
What do they know?
We'll talk a little bit about our starting 11, because obviously pre-season it was a bit all over the place, Andy. We've had a lot of the young'uns starting, which I don't think many of them will feature. I think maybe 1 or 2 might make the bench, but I don't think we'll see as many as what we saw in pre-season. And I think you kind of expect that. They get taken on these camps just for the experience, but they'll soon be put back into the under 21s or whatever the sides are called these days, the B team or whatever it is. But there's 1 or 2 that maybe's caught the eye that will maybe get, you know, a promotion into the senior squad and will train with the senior team. Were there any of the youth players that you saw which you think, yeah, they will have a bit of a future this season? They'll feature a bit more, kind of like what Lewis Miley did last season, and to an extent, Elliot Anderson, although obviously he's not with us. He didn't die; he just moved to Nottingham Forest. Although he did get it in the first game. But were there any of the young'uns that played in the pre-season that you think, yeah, they'll feature this season for the first team?
Yeah, I mean the pre-season generally, it's hard to gauge it too much because the Japan games were just weird. They said this on Monday. They were just like all fully charged with the batteries. They were just all absolutely lightning pro clubs players, weren't they? So for the young'uns to try and go up against that, like a team that's in the middle of the season who are all absolute road runners, it's hard really. I was actually impressed by the younger Miley. Or is it the older Miley?
He's the older one, Jamie.
Yeah, Jamie. He looked really composed. He looked like he had that composure, and that clearly the two of them had played together because they seem very similar. But a player that we haven't seen that much of that I'm hoping we'll see more of this season is Alex Murphy. I always think he's looked all right when he played a little bit at the end of last season, and I actually think in those last couple of games he looked really composed, and I was disappointed we didn't see more of him. So I don't know if he's injured. Someone can correct me. But it's nice just to see now that we're getting these young players who are actually playing and getting minutes, and we actually think, oh, is he going to be any good after being burnt by Adam Campbell, Adam Armstrong, Niall Ranger, Harris Vukic, all these people who we think are going to be world beaters and aren't. So it'll be interesting to see who's on the bench first game of the season, because that'll probably be who Eddie Howe likes.
Yeah, it probably won't be 7 goalkeepers, although we probably could put 7 goalkeepers on the bench.
At this point.
Yeah, why not? Maybe we can get them all in goal at the same time if we need to. No, maybe we won't. Yeah, it's a funny one. I think for Jamie Miley, for me, I think the first game it wasn't his best, but the second game when they actually played him in his actual natural position, yeah, he was very composed on the ball. He was very solid in that midfield role, and it showed. That was on there. I think you're right. Those games were very hard to predict. One, because of the teams were just running at you full pelt, but also 88 to 90% humidity as well. You're struggling to breathe, let alone run around the football pitch.
And they played the second after landing as well, which wouldn't have helped.
But no, I enjoyed the preseason. I enjoyed the Japan games. I thought they were good, and then obviously the Salah Cup's the Salah Cup. You could tell by the end of that
double champs.
Game, just double champs. You'll never sing that.
Going for a three-peat next season.
Yeah,
absolutely. Although, did we not? Was the Saudi one not done by Salah as well that we won with that gold cup that Jacob Murphy went a bit over the
yeah.
top with. So is that not a back-to-back? We're not already...
trophy cabinets
was it the
getting
Riyadh
with that
season?
one.
Was it the
Getting
Riyadh
pretty
season
full in it.
cup?
We're going to need a big
The
one.
Riyadh Cup, yeah, that was it.
Aye.
Maybe that was sponsored by Stella as well. I don't know. I can't remember that far back.
I think it was.
Daryl,
I think it was
mate, it's time.
Back
It's time for
We still don't have a jingle
it's just
for it.
time. I don't even need to introduce it. You can just go ahead and I'll put the graphic on the screen right now. But
No, it's all we've got time for, Scott. Sorry.
Yeah, it is. Sorry. See everybody. No, tell us about the officials, and it's time for Ref Watch.
Yes, welcome back to Ref Watch. And for our first game of this new season, we're going to be in the presence of one Craig Pawson from South Yorkshire. The man himself presided only 2 Newcastle games last season. And when you think about the results that he got, it's actually quite good for us. It was the 1-0 home win against Brentford, and then the 3-0 win at the Stadium of Light against our very good friends down the road there.
Another team in red and white. It's a good
I
omen.
know. Another little stat from both of those games is that Bruno and Anthony Gordon saw yellow cards in both of those games. So he has a history of booking those two players in the 2 games. His record for so obviously we're quite early on in the season, so I can't really give you any stats for this season. Unlike you,
quite early on in the season.
Yeah, you know, exactly. So his record for last season in the entirety of 23-24, he refereed 19 Premier League games, dishing out 86 yellow cards and 3 reds. And the VAR for the game for the first time this season will be Chris Kavanagh.
And 24 iPhone 14s, from what I've seen with the new thing that's coming. No, I think that's coming in later on in the season. They're going to bring iPhones in.
I think they're going to
do.
I think they're going to test it in the background for the first part of the season to make sure everything's all right with it, and then it will be brought in properly in October.
What's that replacing? What's that replacing?
The lines, drawing the lines on the VAR.
It's semi-automated offside, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the
semi-automated offline is there, but they're also, when they draw the lines on the replays as well.
It's an AI thing, isn't it?
They're bringing it. So your iPhone's got. You see the black thing on the phone under that third camera. You can see that.
Yeah.
It's lidar. So it's basically an infrared sensor.
Right.
So it can judge distance and depth and everything. Bit nerdy this for a match preview. Some of them do. I think Samsungs have them. But yeah, it basically they're going to shove iPhones all around the stadium. I think in the Seller Cup, these little white boxes on tripods all around the pitch, and I think that's what they are.
Oh, did they?
Right,
cool.
And I think there was an article in Wired magazine today. Again, nerdy, but implementing soon in the Premier League is there going to be iPhones all around the pitch, and they're going to use that for helping with the automated VAR. And they don't need to draw lines anymore because they can just radar across the pitch. Well, yeah, that's the other thing. But we'll be plugged in. Anyway, enough of the nerdy stuff. Let's get on to our predictions. First match of the season. I'm going to come to you, Daryl, for this one. Because you've had your Ref Watch fun. Now you can actually put some work in and tell us what you think the score's going to be.
3-0 Newcastle. Isaac twice. Gordon once. There you go.
Wow. Why can't you be that quick with Ref Watch? No, I'm sorry. I'm joking.
I've been thinking about this all afternoon.
3-1. Who's scoring for?
No, 3-0.
3-0.
Oh, okay, excellent.
Isaac
with 2, Nick Pope's in goal. Is Nick Pope in goal? Is that your?
Yes.
Is that your? Okay.
Yes.
We might have to pick a keeper every week. That might be a new feature considering we've got 20 goalkeepers. It's went up every time I've mentioned it. By the way, have you noticed that it's went from 5 to 7 to 20?
Because we're signing it up for just recording this.
We will do. Yeah, we'll get Mama Dashvili in as well. Joe, what's your prediction for this one, mate?
I'm also going 3-0. I'll say, just to be different, I'll say Isak, Bruno, and big man Joe Linton.
Nice.
Big man Joe Linton. That's only because you got his name on the back of your home club.
Wait, give me namesake, man. I love him to bits.
Big Joe.
Andy, mate. What's your prediction for this one?
I think 2-0. I think it'll be like a battering 2-0.
So negative, Andy.
Wait, yeah. All right then, 4-0. No, 2-0. No, 2-0. 2-0. I'm going to say Big Joe, Little Joe on the score sheet.
Ooh.
Just because we've missed them. Although it would be quite funny if Almiron scored and then waved the fans off or something. But no, I
He's
think
going
Big Joe,
nowhere.
Big Joe, Little Joe.
Miggy's wants too much money. He's going nowhere. He's doing a Ryan Fraser and wanting like 40 million a week or something. That's what Miggy wants. I'm gonna go for a 4-1. I think Southampton might get an early goal. I hate playing newly promoted sides on the first day of the season because they just come out like the clappers and they just have nothing to lose and they'll run out of steam very quickly. But I think they'll try and catch us off guard, and I think the Mebbies will, and they'll try and silence the crowd, and Mebbies they will. But it's first day of the season, you can't really do that for very long.
I
think
do wonder whether they're going to do. I do wonder whether they're going to do a similar thing that Burnley did last season, whether they're going to try and play their game as it did in the Championship, and realize by November when they're halfway relegated that's probably not working. Or whether they're going to
try and do the we'll score more than you thing and realize that Premier League teams can score a lot of goals if you try and do that.
Really well.
I think it'll be 4-1. I think we might see Isak's first hat trick against in the Premier League, or it may be his first hat trick. I don't think he scored a professional hat trick or what. I think it was some.
No, I don't. No, he's not, mate. I don't think he has.
And I think we'll see Anthony Gordon get a goal as well. St James's in a competitive Premier League game because he hasn't scored in the Premier League yet for us, has he? At home, I think he scored away, but he hasn't scored at home. If I remember rightly, again, I could be wrong there. I think Bestie was talking about it on Always Smiling Faces that he needs a goal at St James's, so I'm going to go with that. So yeah, Isak hat trick, Gordon to round it off nicely, but Southampton I think will take the lead. So sorry to put a dampener on anyone going to the match first of all, but we'll do that there. Right, boys, that wraps it up. We're trying to keep these a bit shorter in case you haven't realised. We're 26 minutes in. We've done well. If anyone likes what we've said, go scroll down this video and hit the little thumbs up. If anyone doesn't like what we said, I don't care. No, scroll down and hit the thumbs down. Engagement is all we're after. Just please engage with us. Let us know. If you want to let us know your predictions, scroll down from here and let us know in the comments. If you want to let us know what you think of the Southampton setup, if you're a Southampton fan, let us know if Andy did you some justice by talking about your team. Let us know what you think, how you think the game's going to do, or not. Yeah, just scroll down from here and hit the comments. If you've been listening on the audio, just give us a 5-star rating on whatever podcast channel service you are listening on. That's all we ask. And if you want to go one step further, we do have a membership program. It's $2.99 a month. That gets you early access to videos like this, gets you access to the Telegram group, and also for this season, because Canny Chatter is back, it also gets you Canny Chatter as a video podcast, which is exclusively available to members, which gives you 30 minutes of extra content, which is also exclusively available to members only. So there you go. Bit more for the members this season, as well as some more stuff coming later on the season as well. But that's $2.99 a month. You can scroll down from this video and hit the subscribe, and then hit the become a member button to do that. Boys, I'm going to go and melt now because it's still crazy hot in Amsterdam, even though it's 9 o'clock at night. But I'm really looking forward to this weekend. Hopefully, you all have a good time. Who's going to the match? Andy, you'll be going. You've got your season ticket.
I am.
Darryl, you're not going this? No, you're not. You're doing something else.
Why are you not going?
You're going to have headphones on, aren't you?
I'll have some headphones on a beach somewhere.
There you go. Headphones on a beach. Aye, there we have it. Enjoy.
No boys not even colour codes beach.
It sounds a lot more exciting than it is. Enjoy. I'm sure we'll be talking in the WhatsApp group while Darryl's having a silent disco somewhere. But if you're going to the match, enjoy it. If you're going to the stack, enjoy it. Hope you get in. I hope you get there early enough so you can get in if that's what you want to do. And if you're not, just stay safe and have a good day. I'm sure it'll be blazing sunshine.
Football's back, man. Get in.
Football is back. We're all happy about that. But we will see you all next time. Let's get a win. Let's get that 3 games in a row for Eddie Howe. Let's get third in that most defeats on the opening day of the season.
You'll never sing that.
We'll never sing that, but at least we'll get Champions League football. And we'll see you all in the next one. Ta-da.
Cheers.